Hey everybody, welcome to my creative writing channel, Critical Storytelling, where I use critical analysis to help you tell your story. My name is Ella, and today I wanted to cover 3 goals of good writing. The first is to process thoughts, emotions, and patterns of behavior. The second is to develop your inner voice, and the third is to make a lasting impression. So, in a previous video, I covered how 3 rules for good writing are no AI, no second person pronoun, and no heavy subjects. But it does occur to me that a lot of what is good writing is the result of personal experiences of people who have encountered some of the worst trauma on earth ever. And so I begin with the first goal: process thoughts, emotions, and patterns of behavior, as a way to just, maybe you have a fictional story that you want to write about because you are just a very happy person, and this is a wonderful memory that you have from growing up, like fishing out of your uncle's pond or something. There is still, despite that not being a heavy subject, it's still a good example of how processing how being in nature made you feel, how the independence of maybe catching your first fish made you feel like you could, do anything. So thoughts, emotions, patterns, this process, the first goal, helps you get to the second goal, which is developing your inner voice. And this is really important. All the good writers that I follow, whether it's their short stories, their novels, or their poetry, they all have a personal style that really distinguishes them from someone else. And if they're really good, they might draw on someone that came before them, or maybe even their contemporaries, and you'll see it show up, and it will echo from another writer. And that reminds me of someone who recently posted a reel somewhere about how Quentin Tarantino does this in his films, and it might just be it'll be just one shot of something that echoed from a film 30 years before, or something he probably saw as a child. That is good writing. So we have processed thoughts and emotions that help us develop our inner voice. And then also I went on the tangent about how sometimes, we can pay tribute to other good writers. But developing the inner voice is really critical to good writing, because it's your personal power, and that, once you have established that in the bedrock of yourself and your being, and it comes out every time you begin something, it's just evident, this is who I am, this is how my creative process takes place. Then the third goal, which is to make a lasting impression, becomes easier. And this is what, we can look at everything that we've read so far qualifies for all 3 of these. The making of the lasting impression is like just this, the takeaway that someone may have, that the words that you've written or the image that you create stays with someone forever. And that is a natural process. Like human beings writing about their experiences, or just making them up as they go to create something that the reader gets to process, the reader's emotions, the reader's thoughts, the reader's own patterns of behavior, and do like a comparison and a contrast between the reader's own personal experience and what they are reading about. When you as a writer have that like powerful inner voice that you share with someone else, that will make a lasting impression on someone that they can take away. And that echoes the romantic element of the restorative property of nature, that maybe they never read that story again, but there's a part of it that sticks with them in a way that says, it echoes the experience, that there's something, even never reading it again perhaps, but thinking back on it, there's still the possibility that maybe one day they think about it the same way every time, until one day it just hits them different. And nothing has happened differently to cause any sort of different outcome, but that person has just grown, and maybe your writing can help that process. I just think that, one of the most difficult aspects of the human condition is to build something that lasts, to counteract this transient state of life. And writing is a priceless aspect of that it will be here after we are gone. And we have good writers to thank for leaving their legacy for us to learn by. And I hope that you can do the same with your process, your inner voice, and your lasting impression. And thank you for listening.